Alrighty, man. Hey, man. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Again, welcome to the locker room. Just trying to allow y'all insight onto PML. What's new, what we got going on, what we looking forward to, things like that. This show we do have us a special guest. Every now and then we'll try to throw in someone a little different, somebody a little out of the way, keep everybody on their toes, keeps us on our toes, introducing, the guests kind of helps level us and lets us know where we can improve, where we shouldn't improve on, and things like that. So, further ado, let's go ahead and introduce ourselves. Of course, it's Beast here. We got next up, Cammy.
Cammy, big Cammy.
Big
Some
Cammy.
people say big Cammy, little Cammy. I love y'all. Next up, we got
Big codes, real big codes. And then next we got
Miles, hello. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. And
And
after
last
me,
but very not least, we have one of the most intricate parts of PML, man. One of the best producers, my guy HD, man. Take us away.
Hello, how are you?
All righty, all righty. So, just wanted to typically, I would always try to start off the show just checking in on you guys, seeing how everybody's doing. I had a pretty good day. I can't complain. Life is great for me right now. What about you, Cammy?
I mean, life's been pretty good, man. Not gonna complain at all. Got good job going on right now. Living life. I just got over my sickness, and I just want to play off games, so I'm happy. What about you,
Looking
coach?
good, looking good.
life is pretty good. I'm just getting ready for this move, the second baby, things like that, trying to plan out the future. But it's going pretty good for the most part. What about you, Miles?
can't complain as well. Everything's good in life. Working, keeping myself busy, and trying to keep thriving. How about you, AG? How are you doing?
You know, it was a good. Actually, I lied. Today was some, but I had to work today. But yeah, sounds like we're all on the same page here. We're all having a good time. Um, just you know what?
Always
I'm
good.
just I'm just happy to be here.
Always good to hear. And then that kind of leads me into where I wanted to take the direction of this particular show. So, as you know, things are happening, things have happened. I just want to, kind of bring that aspect to the league of, I got these guys up here with me. I introduced these guys into the locker room. We're all sitting here. We're all having a good time. But nonetheless, no matter what, I'm going to respect each and one of these guys because they are part of the very thing that, we're trying to, of course, always improve, always keep thriving. So, just as going into that, I would like to share a little couple stories here from each of our host and our guest. Of course, I'm going to start it off myself, just with saying, on the serious side of things, you never really know what's going on next door. So I live in a good subdivision, brand new house. Everybody around me is brand new houses. So the thing that separates my house from that house is the fence. I can't see over that fence, nor do I care to see over that fence. But the one thing I do know is when I see my neighbor pull out, how you doing? How's it going? How you been? It's always respectful. It's always mutual, no matter what they have going on. Because a lot of the times people have so much stuff going on, and they just don't show it. You see me, you won't know that I have many things going on. I mean, I'm a commish. I feel like I've been doing a great job. People have been telling me I've been doing a great job. I've been doing what I can with that. I've been trying to, rein people in, keep people in line. Not necessarily in a bad way, but just trying to keep everybody's spirits up. So the whole time while this is going on, a few people in the league actually know what I have been going through. As you guys may or may not know, I just recently had, my last daughter. I did have a vasectomy about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. I had my last daughter a month and a half ago. She had terrible issues, health wise, blood infections, heart murmurs, stuff like that. So it's very, very dramatic experience, but nonetheless, you would never be able to tell that from looking at Coach Beast himself, because it's all about keeping it out of where it shouldn't be. Like, you guys aren't the reason for anything I'm going through. If it is a bad day, I'm not going to take it out on anybody for me having a bad day. Um, and hey, man, it's rough when you see a life that you help create, going through so much turmoil, and then you got to turn and kind of look for that out. And PML has been really, really good for supplying that out for me, giving me that place to kind of escape from reality. Not only helping me through the recovery, but helping me get there in positive light. The little interactions that I do have with certain people, it helps. It helps a lot knowing, everybody not knowing what you're really going through. So I just think that everybody should really look on that aspect of things and start to kind of appreciate your neighbor a little more, because you never know the hill they climbed up. So with that being said, I would like to pass it along. That was just my story, Coach Beast, GM of the Jets, and then I'm gonna pass it on to the GM of the Bills, Coach Cammy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, PML for me, I joined back here around PML 2019, and I was going through a tough time. I was going out every weekend. I was doing things that you shouldn't be doing, and I didn't really have a hobby in life to kind of like reel me in until PML. So when I found PML, it kind of helped me stay at home, take care of myself, and I met a lot of cool people that really helped me like show a way in life. And so you know I love PML for what it is, and I love everyone that's in it, because without it, I mean, I'd probably still be out there doing some dumb shit. So like, I'm thankful for everyone here. I'm thankful for everyone in the league. I'm thankful for JT for what's going on, because if it wasn't for PML, shit, man, I don't know where I'd be right now. So I'm happy for that. And coach, I'm gonna let you handle it next.
So, ever since I was little, basically, my family they didn't have like a ton of money or anything. So, about like every year or so, we'd move to like a new state or like a new city because it was either a new like job opportunity or another couch to sleep on. So, I've probably been to like 20, 25 plus schools, and so I've never really been able to have connections with people for more than like a couple months or a year. Like I couldn't stay in contact, couldn't really make a good bond with people, and so that kind of isolates you a lot. So that was basically that was like pretty much how it was until I graduated. And so when I got in PML, I was only like 19 or 20, so I was pretty fresh out of high school. So, and I've already been here for 4 to 5 years. So you guys are basically the longest friends that I've ever had, and like the only connections, like 4 times the amount of time like that I've ever had with anyone else. Like besides my family and my girlfriend, you guys are the people I've known for the longest, talked to the longest. So that's helped me a lot. And then also with moving so much, uh, it made me kind of like socially awkward or had social anxiety, couldn't really talk in front of people, things like that. Because when you go to a new school, you have to go up in front of everybody and be like, hey, this is me, and introduce yourself. And so I had to do that all the time, like every 8 months, basically 4 months, like introduce. So it gave me like really bad social anxiety, and I couldn't really talk in front of people, couldn't really talk to people on the phone. And so doing PML, doing the content, talking to you guys, it's really brought me out of my shell, made me more comfortable with people, more comfortable with talking. I don't really feel awkward or anxiety when it comes to that anymore. And I've been able to make like some long lasting friendships with people. That's pretty much it. What about you, Miles?
Oh yeah, so for me this was around actually this time last year. I suffered a breakup. I was engaged for a few months, and I found out my girlfriend of 2 years, who I've known a total of five, was cheating on me, and that hit pretty hard. And around that same time, my sister was pregnant, going a pretty bad car accident, so it was a lot to take mentally. And being a PML at the time, being in voice calls with people or just DMing them or talking in gen chat, it helped. How do I word it? It helped me get my mind off things. Some people knew about my situation and gave me advice where it was needed and gave me a shoulder to lean on. others just helped me keep my mind off it by talking about the latest games that were played or and whatnot. So it really helped having them there because yes, I had my family and friends in real life, but no one really understood how I was going through it personally. So, it was great to have those guys. Everyone in the league helped at a certain point, and that's why I just appreciate the community that's been built here. HD, how about you?
Um, let's see, man. Y'all got a lot more interesting lives than I fucking do. I mean, damn. Nah, and that's interesting in any aspect. Let's see. Just like PML, man. I joined. I think the exact day is January 16th,
I think you
2019.
joined the same day as me.
Yeah, January 16th, 2019 is my first day in PML. I think I waited. A couple weeks before I got a team. I ended up taking over Mole's team with the Vikings. Um, Funny enough, before PML, I was PML was my first actual online league. Um, you could do some other crap with like, friends and all. They filled it up with like, a bunch of Facebook random people, and I was like, I want something a little more. And So, I went scrolling through Facebook and I seen JT on there. And honestly, what's funny about this could have been any league. Just the way, and now that I know JT, just the way that he had the message posted on Facebook is what drew me in. Just how official and professional it looked. Um, Actually, funny enough, before I was even in the league, I was bugging JT as much as I do now. Like, hey, when the hell am I getting a team? Um, but since then, I mean, then I was doing multifamily construction. So we're building apartments. I worked for a top 10 national company. So it was just that in PML, dude. I traveled a lot. I've been to obviously, you guys know I live in Cleveland. I've been to Pittsburgh, Columbus, St. Petersburg, Charlotte, and through the whole time, I did go through something super serious, um, and I was able to get through it. I was able to get through St. Petersburg and Charlotte by being in PML. Um, with that being said, obviously everyone knows PML is an escape. It was my escape. But with that also being said, there's a lot of stuff in here that like B said, you don't know what's going on the other side of the fence. So it's like a lot of the trolling in here is simply trolling people, bullshit and having fun. And a lot of the stuff that's what I enjoy. I can come in here and have fun with everybody, and it's strictly fun. You know what I mean? If it ever gets unfun, you can just close Discord and move on. Um, at least for me, that is. I know some people are different, but no, it got me through a lot of the stuff while moving, being away from family, splitting up with the mother of my child, and just going through a job change and transitioning older. Obviously, that was 6 years ago. We're going into cycle 7 that I've been into, but no, man, you guys got a lot more interesting lives than I do. I mean, Beast just got in the fight with the pink paint yesterday. Like yesterday, all I did was deliver packages and talk to y'all, bro. I mean, so, but
the most wholesome thing, man, is when it's all said and done. My kid goes in there and she's purple, pink. So
mm-hmm.
it's those little moments, man,
Yep.
that you're able to take away
Yeah.
and makes everything worth it.
Yeah, man, this is I don't know. I mean, it's just it kind of just like looking at it now. Beast, me and you have obviously talked a lot over the last. Actually, Beast, me and you gotten a lot closer over the last few weeks, months. Me and you were talking the other day, and I'm just like, a lot of people are talking about the current situation and what they want to do, and I'm just like, man, I think about the last 6 years and where I've been and where I'm at, and what got me through there, and I'm just like, dude, I don't know how you look at this place and you don't want to be here. I can't even imagine questioning not being here.
I
Um,
completely agree, man.
just like you guys being here, JT, some of the other guys, just dude, you're playing games and you're talking football. And you're talking real life too. We talk PML, NFL, college, bro. I mean, like it's just a really nice place to be at. I'm super appreciative for it. I've told JT many times, dude. I love this place. Obviously, you guys know the effort I put in, and that I share. That this place is like a second home, obviously. But no, this place is definitely where I want to be.
And it's like, to me at least, it's way more than just a Madden league. Like, uh, it's a community, it's a family. You know, I consider you guys obviously not blood brothers, but you guys are like family to me. Whenever we go in between cycles, and like chat doesn't stop. You know, even though there's not Madden going on, we're every day talking in chat.
Yep.
We'll go play other games. Like we'll go, me, Cam, we play WWE. We went and played FIFA. We'll play, just hop in voice chat and talk about stuff. Like it's bigger than Madden now. It's just a community and a group of people, and it's really important.
Yeah. I mentioned that to someone the other day. I don't know who it was, but I'm just like, name another league that you've ever been in that the chat goes 24/7, 12 months a year.
You can't, and even when
Bro,
it's dead, it's not because
that's
we're in the mic
exactly.
all the
Yep.
time. And like we form friendships. Like you will never find another league. Like I've met people that I want to be friends with for my entire life. Like I am open to meeting them in person. And we have met. There have been people who have met in person here.
Yep.
And we like
know,
like a short thing. You guys bought Bacon a PlayStation 5. Like you guys have spent hundreds of dollars on a PML person. You know what I'm saying? Like not someone you know personally, but
I'm glad you actually brought that up because I really want to hit on this point, and I think a lot of people like don't understand the magnitude of what they're able to do.
Yeah.
You have something that costs literally thousands of dollars total over its lifespan, just sitting and waiting for you to pick it up and play it. And I don't think people really understand that. Like you have $70 remote in your hand, you have $400, $500, $600 console, whatever you brought it for at launch. You have $100 game in there. Like to think, you have the luxury to afford and play and load up these games. Like for some people, man, that's just amazing in its own. And I think a lot of people take that for granted. Like just take aside the fact that, whatever you're going through might be rough and just look at what you're able to produce out of that. Like, okay, well, a lot of people can't play video games. I'm able to have that time to spend on the video game, and I think a lot of us just need to go back to our inner child, man. Like, who would have thought, I can still be able to do this. I can still put so much time into this, and I can still have so much fun doing this. And I think we all just need to go back, to that inner kid and let that inner kid take over.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so goofy in chat, man. Because I feel like when I'm in PML, I can be my inner self. I can be my little kid that I used to be. I can just be happy and act like nothing's wrong. Because like it's not the real world to me when I'm in PML. It's just my escape from reality.
and there's so many different types of people. Like there's a group of people that like wrestling, a group of people that like soccer, a lot of people like basketball, a lot of people like anime. Like there's just like if you have something that you like, you have a hobby or you have, you know, an interest, there's someone else in PMO that you can talk to about that same exact interest. Like you share something in common with every single member.
If I can just add real quick, similar to what you both just said, this community, going back to what I shared, I was going through therapy at the time of everything happened, and that wasn't helping. People on PML and voice call and DMs and general chat all helped me more. And it's whether it was talking about what happened or just, again, like Coach said, oh, the Raptors beat the Bucks. Well, Giannis did this, Scotty Barnes did this. Like, talking about sports or real life or anything, it's a rare situation where a community is this strong and you see something like this. Like this is a family, and I hope no one takes that for granted.
Absolutely, man. It's and that's really the heartstrings is really what I wanted to hit to open this episode up with, man. Just remind people, it's a lot bigger than the X and O's of your remote, man. Like these are all real people. These are all human beings. As you just saw, man, you have so many different stories sitting in one locker room. So But furthermore, let's move on from all that and get into some league stuff. HD producer, please take us away.
Yes, sir. Before, obviously, you guys see I got MVPs on the screens. Um, Finn wanted to ask, who you guys think, which conference do you think, just short brief so we can move on, just, which conference do you think the Super Bowl winner is in?
So that's a really, really good question, Finn. What I think is that we can all just answer really quickly so that way we don't
Mm-hmm.
go into too much detail because of course, we'll be covering this when we advance. So just real quick, I'll say AFC.
All right.
Cammy?
Um, like I mean, I got the AFC winning the entire playoffs. I got the Chiefs winning it. I think they won the Super Bowl. Um, they're the strongest team. They got one of the strongest users.
Quick, Cammy.
Mm-hmm.
Just a quick. We're gonna go into detail when we advance.
that's it.
Codes.
What was the question? Conference or like
Just-
conference and
Just
division?
conference. If you just want to throw a team, and we'll move on.
We're going into more detail.
Someone out of the AFC West. So the winner would be in the AFC, and it will come from the AFC West.
You know what? I see what you did there. Y'all got 3 teams left. You're in there, bro. I'm on to you.
Yeah.
Miles,
Hey, I'm in there too.
Miles, who you got?
I'm gonna go NFC, specifically NFC North.
Yeah,
Okay.
me and
Smart choice,
Miles are on the same page. I definitely got the Vikings or the Lions. So with that being said, 3 AFC, 2 NFC. MVPs. We're gonna jump into MVP real quick. I don't have the stats up, but obviously we'll see them when we go to the actual stats page. We'll go to the player stats after this, just so it correlates. MVP, Patrick Mahomes. I know for a fact off the top of my head, he had 40 touchdowns and 7 interceptions on the season. At one point, he was like 27-2. Next up was Kenneth
Crazy
Walker.
word.
Yeah, next up was Kenneth Walker. We went over him yesterday a little bit. Josh Allen at 3, Herbert 4, and Bo Nix. CPU Bo Nix, because he was CPU for, I think, 8 games. And I'll go check it after this. But actually, yeah, we'll check it after this. I think he broke the record for passing touchdowns. So CPU Bo Nix rounded off our top 5.
He had at least 55, I think, easily.
Yeah,
I think around
I
there.
think Doc broke it the final game. So when Coach Doc came in his second tenure of PML, he ended up breaking it. But I'm gonna give all credit to Bo Nix. That guy had a crazy season for a rookie. Patrick Mahomes though, I can't say I'm surprised.
I'm about to say, can anyone say that?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's. Well, honestly, I'll say I'm surprised because, well, one, I did. So my top 3 surprised me. Okay, the top 3 surprised me. Patrick Mahomes only surprises me because I thought Josh Allen at week 11 or week 10 was gonna win it because he was having such a crazy season. Then he threw, I think 27 interceptions in the last 7 games, so that obviously dropped him. And then Kenneth Walker just surprised me because I didn't know how well Seattle was doing with him. So that, I'm surprised just where those 3 are. But once you think about it in the long run, Chiefs, Coach Mike and Mahomes, they're destined to have an MVP at some point this, over the next five years.
It's definitely going to be a crazy tight fight moving forward. I will say that.
Yeah, I mean, like I think it's a crazy race because Josh Allen did have it in the bag, and I think when he played against Patrick Mahomes, that's when it all really shifted completely. Where Patrick Mahomes took over the race and showed that he was the better quarterback. And with Kenneth Walker, I think he came on later in the season where he just started showing out the entire league, and Kenneth Walker went crazy. So I was still surprised that Patrick Mahomes won it because he still could have played like. He played safe with it, but at the end of the day, I can see why he won it.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt as well. All credit to Mahomes, but usually when someone has an MVP season, they have MVP moments. And from watching the games and hearing other people talk about it, he was really efficient and methodical with Mahomes. But there was really no rolling left, throwing back right, 60 yards down the field like you usually expect from Mahomes. There was really no MVP moment or like wow plays from Mahomes this season, which is usually like a narrative you need to win MVP. But a few people that did have those things were like Kenneth Walker or Josh Allen, even Baker Mayfield. I know he was a sneaky pick as well. But yeah, all credit to Mahomes.
Yeah, I have 2 points on this. Mahomes, congratulations to him. Again, a very successful season. When you look at all the other quarterbacks in the league, he again kept it simple, took what was there, and now he's MVP. And shout out to Kenneth Walker because looking at this list, there's only 2 running backs, and he finished second. So the Seahawks used him so well to the point where he was the juggernaut piece of their offense, and he just had a record year.
Yep. I have a statement, then I'm gonna have a question. Actually, actually, never mind. I'll just make it a comment. I think Kenneth Walker and not Josh, but Kenneth Walker, maybe Josh Allen because he's a receiver, but I think it's very, very possible Kenneth Walker could have stole the MVP if he did not miss the last 2 games. As for a question here, you heard the top 5. The last 5, Derek Carr, Anthony Richardson, Ryan Tannehill, Baker Mayfield, and Tyrone Tracy Jr. Is there anyone on here, just briefly, a name and a statement that you're surprised to be on here? For me, to be Anthony Richardson. The Colts went 9-8. That's just not a team that you expected to have an MVP caliber player on, I think, in season 1. So, he's kind of my dark horse. You kind of throw Tannehill in there just because no one expected that dude to even be in the league. I'm surprised he's on a roster. But, yeah, and obviously the Vikings and SP Dot, obviously a hell of a coach, many Super Bowls under his belt. But do you guys have any, surprises that you see on this list between the 2 and the 10?
So the biggest one for me, and I think we're overlooking, is the fact that it's only one player on this list that's fresh. One rookie. Like, come on, man. You can't overlook Bo Nix. Like, regardless to who's controlling the guy, the fact that he was able to move up to 5 as a rookie, like, man, I expect that name to be on this list for a few years. No matter what happens, it's no way you can ruin this guy at this point. Like, he's already shown, he's here. He's a staple. He made the big list. He's had the votes to get on this big list. Like, man, that's crazy, all things considered,
Well,
Cammy, what you think on it?
I think we're overlooking a big veteran here who has been on the MVP list since 2016, since he broke his fibula. I think Derek Carr being on like number 6 on this list is crazy to me. I mean,
Bro.
he brought this team. They were down in the dumps early in the season, and he brought them back to life. They almost made the playoff. Wait, did they make? No, they almost made the playoffs. And I think Derek Carr is like, him showing that he can be a franchise quarterback still at his age after switching teams when no one had faith in him. I think that's huge. I think it shows that you can still roll with this guy at quarterback in New Orleans. I think that's massive. What do you think, Coach?
I hate going in so late down the list because all my ideas get taken. I have to agree with both HD and Beast. I think Anthony Richardson was very surprising to see. Knowing Coach CB and how his offense usually styled, it can be prone to turnovers at times. But this season, Anthony Richardson stepped up, has a great touchdown to INT ratio, and then of course, like B said, Bo Nix, not only a rookie, but think about the situation he's in. Jerry Jeudy got traded in the offseason. Cortland Sutton is a pretty solid receiver, but not really a true number 1. Troy Franklin is a rookie as well, so you would never people can see things that Bo Nix can do in the future, but they never thought it would happen this quickly and this fast. For him to even break the touchdown record is crazy as well.
Yeah,
Miles, how about you?
I'm gonna go with Ryan Tannehill of the Vikings. I think veteran. He was in free agency, I'm pretty sure, until midseason when he got picked up. He came in there. Shout out to Coach SP, who obviously schemed it up so that his life would be pretty simple. But for a quarterback to come out of free agency, I believe, and just finish in the MVP conversation is wild to me. So props to Tannehill, props to Coach SP and the Vikings.
All right. Next, the only other one is Coach of the Year. This will be quick. We're not surprised by any of these. The Vikings, the Chiefs, Lions, Chargers, Patriots, Bucks, Cowboys, Giants, Seahawks, and Colts, all playoff teams. No surprises here, but the top did go to SP Dot. Obviously, he has the best record, which is normally how it goes with the Vikings. So congrats to SP Dot. We'll start over in the AFC. We'll just go down the list. We'll make it quick. If there's anything that stands out, we can comment on it. But we got a lot of things to go over, so I figured the quicker the better. Offensive Player of the Year goes to Quentin Johnston of the Chargers. Another young guy winning an award actually, and he had a great year. Shakir Kincaid, obviously we talked about yesterday. Mahomes getting 4. I will comment, I think it's very weird, even if they win MVP, which is the best player in the league, they don't win their respective offensive or Player of the Year award. Calvin Ridley being a surprise up here for the Titans, and Rashee Rice here. Another young guy, Brock Bowers. Xavier Worley's on here, also a young man. Defensive Player of the Year. Junior Colson. I think he's a rookie.
He is a rookie.
Yeah, so
2 charges already.
Yeah, 2 charges already. I looked at this list before. There's a couple of them on this list. Juan Thornhill, fun fact, he led the league in interceptions. I only know that, obviously, because I watch all the Browns games. Jamal Hill, Chiefs, Drew Tranquil, Kyle Duggar, another great safety out there. Anthony Walker, Nick Bolton, another Chief, CJ Mosley, Greg Newsome, and Roquan Smith rounds out Defensive Player of the Year. Offensive Rookie, congratulations to Brock Bowers, followed up by Xavier Worthy. Brian,
Surprise.
yeah, I mean Brock Bowers got used and abused, baby. That man did his job.
He was injured
I
for a
would-
while. Though.
Oh yeah, he was
Yeah,
injured.
that's
Yeah, he was injured.
He was injured for like
How
5
many
games.
games did he miss?
He missed 4. Fun fact, he got hurt against the Browns. Don't know how it happened. Don't know how I know it. I just know
Yeah.
Wow. The fact that,
it.
Yeah, overcoming.
Yeah, no,
Quotation mark.
Wow.
it was definitely some adversity there. I know Brian Thomas was talked about early in the season. A lot of guys in the chat said that was one of their guys to look at.
Yeah.
Ladd McConkey, Adonai Mitchell, Troy Franklin, who is a PML. He's a PML legend at this point. Braylon Allen, Bo Nix,
PML legend.
again, Bo Nix. The guy's 5th in MVP, and he's down here at 8th in Rookie of the Year.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Braylon Allen was impressive to me because he's sitting behind
was.
Brees, and
He
at one
scored,
point
like-
he took the starting role from Brees.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
did.
yeah. I've seen him score like 3 touchdowns against the Bills.
Yeah, he's the guy's a freak. Defensive, again, Junior Colston here, one that makes sense. He won Defensive Player of the Year. He won Rookie
Another
of the Year.
Charger.
Charger and another
Yeah.
Charger. Tahib Still?
Tarheeb Steele.
Wow, okay. Another Raven.
Another
Nate
Raider.
Wiggins, another Charger. Bishop. So obviously, bunch of guys that had great seasons. Mostly, again, we're mostly seeing playoff teams. It makes sense. Shout out to the Chargers. Obviously, they had a great season, but obviously these young guys, they're helping them get it done, and that's impressive in itself. Obviously, Mahomes, best QB, Herbert, Allen, Richardson, and Bo Nix.
Typical quarterbacks you see.
Well, just pointed out Anthony Richardson's above Bo Nix, but under him in MVP. That's just me pointing it out. Ravens, Lamar Jackson here, quickly.
Max Duggan is a surprising vote there.
Lamar Jackson was on pace to lose his abilities at week 4. 3 young guys: Max Duggan, Drake May, Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who took over week 5 or 6, and Aaron Rodgers, who hasn't played since week 6.
And DTR was prone to lose his job until Malik Willis got hurt.
Yes,
Exactly.
DTR. Yeah, if Malik Willis wouldn't have got hurt for the season, DTR wouldn't even be here. So
Those are
that's a
three
huge
crazy
thing.
ones to see. Max Duggan, DTR, and Rogers, because all of them either went through injuries, being benched, and having to come back in. Like there's no way any of them played more than like 14, 13 games.
And they're not your typical quarterbacks you would see on a list like this. So shout out to those players and coaches.
Absolutely.
Running back Joe Mixon, Jonathan Taylor, Najee Harris, which I'm surprised at myself. Obviously, we know the Steelers actually hold the number 1 overall pick, but obviously Najee was still able to feed his family at home on Sundays. Travis Etienne, Tony Pollard, Isaiah Pacheco, Jerome Ford, again another guy that's played half a year, Braylon Allen, Antonio Gibson, and Nick Chubb, another Brown.
So
Both.
the one thing that bothers me a little bit about this list, man, I would like to see this list lose a few years, man. Like I need to see younger guys on this list. Of course, you do have, Braylon Allen from the Jets, but I just feel like we need some youth on this list, man. All these guys are already established. We got to get these coaches to scheme up the running backs a little better, man. We got to get these young guys a name. We got to make them a name. We got to get them on this list a lot quicker, you know.
Yeah, a lot of vets. The young guys being Braylon Allen, Jerome Ford, and Isaiah Pacheco. I mean, the rest of them are vets.
One thing I
do
will
want-
add though, some of these guys are like splitting, like Jerome Ford, Nick Chubb, Braylon Allen was splitting with Brees, Antonio Gibson was splitting with Stevenson, even Jonathan Taylor is splitting with Anthony Richardson. Like a lot of these guys are getting a lot less touches than they would if they were on a different team, and they still made the list.
Miles?
I do want to mention two of these running backs, interestingly enough. Tony Pollard missed half the season, and Coach HC can correct me, but so did Nick Chubb. It's interesting to see two running backs who missed half or more than half the season still managed to find their way in the top 10.
Yeah, Chubb was on the IR until week 6. He didn't play till week 7, I think. So, and then he got yeah. So he was out till week 6, and then he got hurt for another 4 weeks. So, but I know towards the end of the year he had some really big games. Wide receiver, obviously Quentin Johnston, Shakur, obviously we know is up there. Calvin Ridley, Rashee Rice, Stephon Diggs, Marvin Mims, Xavier Worthy, Downs, Brian Thomas, and Tyreek Hill. This is, beast where you get your young guys at. Johnson, Shakur, Rashee. I think Mims is slightly slower in age. Xavier Worthy, Downs, and Thomas, obviously. So this is where your youth comes in.
Another Charger, man.
Another Charger. I apologize, but here's a Chief, Creed Humphrey, offensive line. We'll show the fat guys some love, man. There's 3 Chiefs on here. I mean, you don't get too far. Mahomes doesn't win MVP, the number 1 seed, without 3 offensive linemen on this list. So that's good for them. Best D-line, Ed Oliver for the Bills. Zadarius Smith for the Browns, Eric Armstead, Hassan Reddick, who was on the trade block for a while, Trey Hendrickson, Josh Hines Allen, George Karlaftis, JTS, Trayvon Walker, and Will Anderson. Again, bunch of young guys. You could fill in, the top 4 guys are a little old. I think Ed Oliver's young, but there's some older guys up here. He's on the fringe. Linebacker. Colson.
How many AFC West?
Listen, Colson won 3 awards. This is his 3rd award.
How old is this guy? Can we just back out and look at this guy real quick?
He's a rookie.
This is unprecedented, man.
He's a rookie.
3 awards is crazy. The AFC West has dominated the awards.
I want to pull up just him. 60 solo, 130 total. 17 tackles for loss, 9 picks. So it's probably that normally indicates that that's the user for said team. The lurker linebacker, 4 sacks, 10 deflections, 2 fumble recoveries, and no touchdowns, safeties, or blocked kicks. So 130 tackles, dude. This guy's on the field. He's playing. He's doing whatever you want, dude. He's playing coverage. Obviously, tackles for losses. He's playing the run. He's got 9 picks, 4 sacks. I mean, the guy's playing football.
9 picks to go along with 10 deflections is elite ball hawk skill for a linebacker.
All right.
That's an all-time rookie year right there.
Yeah.
I don't remember the last time I've seen something like that.
Best DB, we got Juan Thornhill, Kyle Duggar, Greg Newsome, McDuffie, Teron Johnson, Grant Delpit, Kenny Moore, Taylor Rapp, Ashton Davis, and Deshaun Elliott. I'm surprised to see 3 Browns up here myself, but Kyle Duggar up there is also playing well. Obviously, the Chiefs got more guys up here. AFC West had a great year so far for the AFC.
Yes, Thornhill's surprising to see because you think about the Browns defense and their DBs, he's maybe like the 4th or 5th DB you think of.
Yeah, I think him leading the league in interceptions and that really helped. Best kicker, Cam Little, Hopkins. We're gonna show love out here because field goals are hard this year. Cam Little, Hopkins, Zerline, Lutz, Butker, McPherson, Fairburn, Sly, Bass, and Justin Tucker. Surprised to see Tucker at 10 because he's notoriously the best kicker in the league. But maybe Father Time's catching up.
Yeah, this list is, full of a bunch of old guys.
Yeah,
keep it moving.
Kickers need love, bro. Listen, I will say, fun fact, obviously just because I know, Hopkins did not miss a kick until week 17. He was 15 for 15, 38 for 38 for extra points, and then he went 0 for 2 week 17 and lost kicker of the year. Just throwing it out there.
Were they 2 deep ones or
2 50-yarders, 52 and 54. So
okay, so maybe a clutch up moment trying to come through too much in the clutch,
yeah.
Especially playing for that playoff position down the stretch there.
NFC, Kenneth Walker, Leggett, Tracy, Godwin, Lamb, Eckler, McCaffrey. Obviously, Kenneth Walker wins Offensive Player of the Year. Leggett's he's a rookie, very surprised to see up here, but I know the Panthers used him really well.
Yeah, he's just surprising not only because he's a rookie, but you think of Bryce Young and his troubles he's had the last 2 seasons. You wouldn't think he's able to feed the guy the ball, and especially with their offensive line as well. So that's very surprising to see him up there.
I do want to mention Jameson Williams just because he was a guy that he got hit for a midseason. He missed 4 games. Just kind of want to show love to him as well. Obviously, he had a great year. He's very hard to cover. We've seen clips. Guys either aren't covering him, or they're neglecting him, or he's just beating the coverage. So it's good to see him up there.
That, man, the biggest thing with that is you guys got to invest in some edge rushers, man. You got to get the right people in the building. You can't afford that time back there, man.
Yeah. Jerome Baker. Another Seahawk. He was, I think, top 5 in interceptions. He was leading the league, I think, week 16 or 17. Eric Kendricks, Brian Asamoah, Micah Parsons, in my opinion, feel like he's kind of low. He's number 4. Isaiah Simmons, David, Nick Bosa, and no one else really is notable, but 2 Cowboys.
Eric Kendricks being as old as he is and making that list is amazing.
Xavier
longevity is wild.
We got offensive rookie for the NFC is Xavier Leggett. We got 2 Giants up here. Malik Neighbors did come in 3rd. Another guy that got mid-season suspension, so he missed 4 games. Another Panther for Jonathan Brooks, and then Marvin Harrison is up here as well. Caleb Williams, number 10. Just to note,
correct me if I'm wrong. Oh my God, continue.
He was one of the best quarterbacks at the beginning of the year, and then him and the Bears both fell off.
What I was gonna say was it's kind of weird because I believe if you look at the MVP list, Tyrone Tracy Jr. was top 10 MVP.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually doesn't even win offensive rookie of the year in his own conference. That's a little strange.
Yeah, he was number 10 on the list for MVP. Defensive rookie goes to the Commanders. Mike Sanderstil. Dallas Turner's
We'll go
up
with
here. Yeah, Dallas Turner up here for the Vikings. Another Panther. Nobody else really notable.
So I will say the one thing to note here is that on this side, you actually got guys that didn't make the playoffs that are
Yeah.
popping up on the list. So that's a little that's promising moving forward. These guys got things to build on, things to look forward to. So that is one bright spot in going through this NFC. I'm noticing.
Now, I'd like to comment. The Panthers organization had a quote come out the other day about Trevon Wallace being the best linebacker they've ever seen, which is pretty surprising, coming from an organization that had Luke Kuechly. So I can expect huge things from him in the future if they're going to say something like that.
All right, best quarterback goes to Ryan Tannehill, who was on the MVP list. Obviously, Derek Carr also on there. Baker was also on there. And then that's rounded off with Goff, Howe, Caleb, again, still number 6, above Hurts, Daniel Jones, Bryce Young, and the Cowboys. Dak Prescott. We have 3 NFC East teams on here. We have 3. Yeah, there's no Packers. We have 3 NFC North teams as well.
The thing that stands out to me is the top 5. Those are all guys that were casted out of their own organizations before. You think Ryan Tannehill, the Dolphins, the Titans, Baker and the Browns, Jared Goff, they didn't believe he could compete with the Rams. Sam Howell just got traded from the Commanders. So those were all guys that were pushed out of their organization because they can't get it done, but they finished top 5 in that award.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Kenneth Walker, obviously, best running back. Tracy, again, up there. McCaffrey, Josh Jacobs, Eckler, Kamara, Bijan, Rashad White, another guy that got injured, Barkley, and Brooks.
That's a nice mix of youth and veteran presence there.
Yeah, I was going to add how most of these lists, it's not just the proven players like the Mahomes or the Derrick Henrys there's a good mix of youth and the older veterans as well. So it's nice to see a little bit of both sides.
All right. Wide receiver, Xavier Legette, Godwin, Lamb, Jameson Williams, and Justin Jefferson round that out for the top 5. Metcalf, Evans, Debo, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp rounded off at 9 and 10, being on the same team. Best lineman, Cowboy. I'll just say the team. I don't even need to say the names. Cowboys, Eagles, Cowboys, Lions, Cowboys, Giants, Niners, Saints, Packers. I said Cowboys and Eagles so many times. You could guess. You could put whoever there. They probably won it. Odds are in your favor, man. D-line, Nick Bosa, Dallas Turner, Jordan Davis. Noticeable. We got 2 Lions up there. So the NFC, like B said, there's a lot of diversity up here on the side of the NFC.
Seeing these guys on these teams that they didn't make it, but yet they're getting guys on this list. So you got a lot to look forward to, man.
I want to point out the 49ers did make a good run deep in their season. They got a lot of players on this list, and I think they took games more serious later in the season, and that's why their guys are on this list.
Yeah, he was. I know for a fact the coach himself was out for a while. They had an interim coach being the CPU. I know he was out on work business trips. So
and they had a lot of big wins. They got a win against the Bills. They got a win against the Lions. They got a lot of huge wins on their rosters. Something they can build on till next season.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Linebacker, Michael Parsons, Jerome Baker, Trevin Wallace, Eric Kendricks, Andrew Van Ginkel, Brandon Graham, Brian Burns. A lot of familiar faces on here. With Parsons, obviously Jerome Baker's a little newer. He came from the Dolphins in the offseason. Got a new contract over there. But Michael Parsons, Eric Kendricks, Van Ginkel, Graham, Burns, Josh Sweat. These are all, really older guys kind of staying up there.
Man, the fact that you have an inside, outside, and middle from the Vikings just speaks to the defense. Yeah. Man, it's wild.
Yeah, it's insane.
Brandon Graham is a linebacker?
Bro.
They run a
edge rusher.
Yeah,
he's
an
edge rusher.
I think they run a 3-4. Yeah, so they got him an outside linebacker. Personally, it's a
insane.
roster wise, they're a 4-3 team, but obviously it looks like when they the new defensive coordinator came in, they switched to a 3-4.
Yeah, Madden puts him at a 3-4.
So
Yeah, that was crazy for me 'cause I thought he was always kind of like an interior guy.
He is an interior guy. He is.
So again, Commanders DBs winning it again. He's got 2 up here. He's got Jeremy Chin joining him. 3 Lions: Brian Branch, Terrion Arnold, and Carlton Davis.
Those Lions are serious.
Arnold is a rookie, second year
Yes.
rookie.
Rookie.
Old man Gilmore's up there, and then Deontay Banks takes it at second. Stephon Gilmore, surprised to see him up there. Honestly, I feel like he's lost a step.
We should talk about the young guy on the Commanders being up first on the list. That
Yeah.
guy is a monster.
Yeah.
He is young, and no one ever expected this kid to be this high on the list.
Yeah, this is his second. I think he won defensive rookie or defensive
He won
player.
DPOY.
Yeah, defensive
Yeah.
player. So,
Is he a rookie this? Yeah, he's a rookie this year, right?
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
And I think he was a late round pick. So all to him, man. All to him. Living
And it
out
was
his
much
dreams,
needed for the
proving everyone
Commanders,
wrong.
And the Commanders really needed that. I'm pretty sure they came 32nd in pass defense last season. So having a new addition with the rookie and Jeremy Chin, they really needed to beef up that pass defense, and it looks like it worked out for them.
All right, we'll round it off. Brandon Aubrey, obviously, he was the best kicker last year. Followed by Bates, came from the XFL or USFL, whatever the hell, whichever one. He came from one of them, but I think it was the XFL. He was knocking down 60-yarders, and the Lions signed him this offseason. Nobody else really up here. Reichard's a rookie, and I think that is it. So, shout out to the kickers. We love y'all too. Now we can see why those guys are up there on those lists. We'll go straight up here. We're just going to kind of talk about what's on the screen, not do too much scrolling down. You kind of get what you get. We'll highlight the leaders of things. So obviously starting with yardage, Will Levis leads the league, 5,900 yards. You're 9 yards away from 6K. I believe these top 4 guys all broke the passing record.
They all no.
I think so.
The passing records, I think, is 5,500.
5 almost,
it?
yeah.
The
Yeah, just
craziest
about.
thing to me is the Titans passing the ball that much, but he wasn't really stacked that often. 21 stacked and was throwing for 630 times. That offensive line was holding up pretty well.
You also have a touchdown pass breaking Bo Nix, wasn't it 55?
Yep.
I believe.
Yep, beat it by 1.
And Josh Allen's down by 1, and then Baker Mayfield's down by 1 too.
Yeah, Baker
crazy.
Mayfield tied it at one point, and then Josh Allen being 1 shy of the original. So that's huge there. 56, 55, 54. Herbert's up there with 50. If you hit 50 at any point, you're obviously having a great season. Jaden Daniels, the rookie, he had 47. Obviously, we'll get to the interceptions, but 47 touchdowns is insane. Even 45 for Lamar. Just their style. I know they can both throw the ball, but you expect them to have a little more rushing yards than having 40 passing touchdowns.
But we gotta highlight Patrick Mahomes, man. The guy, look at him,
Yeah.
43-7.
Yeah,
Like,
43 and
that's an
7 is
outlier.
insane.
You look at every other stat. You look at Patrick Mahomes, that's an outlier. No
Yeah.
other quarterback in the league is doing what Patrick
So
Mahomes
so
can
he
do.
Percentage.
It's insane.
he had 5,000 yards.
Insane.
He had 5,000 yards. The 43 touchdowns, 7
75%, man.
picks,
75.
75%,
5K.
20 sacks.
Like
Camby put the drinks down. He only played 16 games.
This is insane.
Wow.
He missed 1 game.
What's
He probably sat.
what's the-
He missed 2
sec-
games. He missed 2. Oh,
Nope, see, put the drinks down, buddy. 700 snaps. Downs played. Will Levis played almost 1,000 snaps.
That's crazy.
Jaden Daniels as well.
wild.
1,000
Hey.
snaps.
a question?
Who had the longest touchdown?
What's your question?
Who's the second closest to Mahomes in terms of interceptions thrown? Because I know Mahomes is about what's the second least amount? What's the
Uh,
distance? I'm
it's
curious.
hard to find that.
No, it's right here. I could just
No,
scroll
it just
down.
filters it.
So starting quarterback wise, it would be
Probably Tannehill.
Tannehill, 37 and
Tannehill,
11.
yeah.
Another great season. Justin Herbert, 59 and
You got a 50
19.
and 19. Jeez. 70%.
Murray was
Freaking good.
negative.
Look at
Drake
the percentage
May.
ratings for me too.
Carr had a sneaky
See
good
these
season.
these
Carr
these
had
get
42,
hard.
22.
So the leader was 75. Tannehill 71. Anything above 70, I'll even give you like a 69.
Nice.
Sorry, super impressive. It's honestly really insane. Bryce Young being up there, he went positive, 4,300 yards, 37 and 34, 69%. I mean, 33 sacks taken. He had a pretty
4
good year.
interceptions.
Caleb Williams, 41 and 30. So the quarterbacks were doing really well this year. Rushing, obviously, Kenneth freaking Walker.
Insane.
Yeah,
Wow.
1,800 yards. The next guy was 550 yards below him at Joe Mixon. Tracy down there, Bijan, McCaffrey.
Can we talk about how there's only 8
Broken
rushing
tackles,
people
bro.
with 8,000 yards? Only 8 rushers with 1,000 yards.
That's pretty crazy.
Good. Based
Gotta
on
look at those broken tackles as well, man. That's
we're
ridiculous.
getting there.
91,
We're
yeah,
getting
okay.
there. Based on
Wow.
previous cycles, honestly, this is probably one of the most
Realistic.
these are definitely most realistic stats. I don't know about the 315 carries, but statistically, this guy would be dead. I'm surprised he didn't break the 75 or 70-30 rule, whatever it is.
He did.
At the end of the year.
I thought he did.
Thank you. So yeah,
the game average itself is a lot higher than everyone else, so it's
Yeah,
ridiculous
that's
all
what I
around.
noticed too.
yeah, his average. Nick Chubb's at 92, 82 from Brooks. Joe Mixon at 79.
How often do you see that type of separation on a gamely average?
Bro.
Yeah, 20
Ridiculous.
yards. 20 yards is
The
insane.
coach- The
18.
coach in Seattle is scheming up amazing plays for Kenneth Walker.
Like
Amazing
the last time we
plays.
saw such a gap, it had to be LT in LA,
Yeah.
right? That's the last time there was a gap
Yeah,
this big.
exactly.
Yeah, I think the touchdown record was 22, 23. He broke that with 25. Actually no.
Tracy was pretty close.
I think it's higher than that. We'll look at it. I think it's actually higher than that. He might not have broken it. We'll have to double check, but 20, 18, 16. I mean, Ty Chandler having 14 while having 700 yards. So obviously they were doing some sort of split back action. Braylon Allen's up there. Again, Chubb, a guy that missed half the year. Jaden Daniels has 11. He's down there in the pack of the running backs.
Jaden Daniels had an amazing year.
Yeah, Jaden
I
Daniels.
thought he had an amazing year.
He's
He's a rookie, but he had a great year. Great welcome to PML.
So Joe Mixon was the second best running back statistically per yards. 7 fumbles. He's up there with Zach Moss, who also had 7. A bunch of quarterbacks though, which that's expected. That comes with it, but
Yeah.
you don't want to see your running backs up there. Broken tackles, 95. Jonathan Taylor. I feel like this guy's always up here every season. 95 broken tackles.
But
Yeah,
then the
95
fact you have 91 in second would double his yards. It's just
Yeah.
like, come on, man. This makes no sense.
Yeah,
It's surprising to me
this
that he
is
only had 4
amazing.
touchdowns. Only 4 touchdowns on Jonathan Taylor.
and
That's surprising.
well, that probably kind of shows Anthony Richardson being up there.
Yeah, that's true.
Bijan has 0 fumbles. He went the whole season without fumbling. Mr. Reliable.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yeah,
that's
that's
impressive.
Pretty much.
being the starter and no fumbles.
Yards after contact, again, the same 2 guys. Walker, Mixon, Bijan's up there, Jonathan Brooks, Tracy. Longest run belongs to Josh Jacobs with 89.
That is
And
not someone you expect for that.
Cooper
Not for Josh Jacobs.
and Cooper Kupp's a receiver, so he's only showing because I went by downs played. He did play 1,000 snaps.
But he only had 8 yards.
This is rushing.
Oh.
I went to go see which running back plays.
I'm so confused.
No, I went to go see which running back played the most downs, but him being at 1,000 was just super notable. Joe Mixon though, 864 with the lead there. Kenneth Walker is down there with 846. Receiving, Kincaid And Leggett, 1,000 receptions.
That's
You
great
said
for a
what?
rookie.
That was really good.
And a tight end. And Brock Bowers,
What
tight
was
end
that?
rookie. These are receptions. So we got Leggett, Kincaid, Bowers, Kamara, and
Ooh.
Jay Jettas and Shakir. So 2 Bills, 2 rookies, a running back, 2 tight ends. I mean, you name it. No 2,000-yard receivers though. Kincaid, Leggett, Ridley, and Jefferson. And Godwin
Fact
all
that a
breaking
tight end
1,500
is
yards.
running the table at yards is ridiculous.
That a tight
If
end
you
is
look at
elite.
Kincaid, he's more of a hybrid. He's one of those new age tight ends.
He's like a slot at wide receiver. You know?
Yeah, he's definitely
Yes, exactly.
you can see why he broke the usage rule. Touchdowns, Quentin Johnson with 24, Shakir 23,
Wow.
Leggett 20. So 3 guys breaking 20. Again, the way the Panthers use this guy, you'd have to see the film, but simply based off of stats, the kid went insane.
And the surprise up there, Shakir. Like, who's seen that coming, man?
Yeah, JMO's still up here with the suspension. 12, I'll round it up, 1,300 yards off of 47 catches and 15 touchdowns.
That is insane.
So obviously he's a speedster. He's only got 14 games, 93 long. So that's another guy that played really really well.
Jameson might be like the most important receiver in the entire league.
And I know this.
Does.
I know this whole show's about positivity, but you got to think in the Bills locker room, they just got rid of Diggs, who a lot of people saw as a diva, and 2 players that were there before were able to step up and really shine with the absence of Diggs, with Shakir and Kincaid. Like, they were able to show their true colors and show how they could actually perform.
Yeah,
They are not missing a beat, man. Not missing a beat for sure.
Leggett with the rack. He leads the league in rack. So honestly, that's huge in my opinion for showing how much was actually Leggett rather than just heaving him the ball down there.
And number 2 and 3 were from tight ends, which is not something you usually see.
2 Chiefs lead the lead in run after catch average with 10 yards each. JMO being up there also.
That makes a lot of sense of how the Chiefs run their offense. You know, they got a lot of speed in the backfield. They hand the ball off, and then we make the play.
Yeah. Little negativity here with a little positive comes a negative. The most sacks. We got 3 guys with 12. That's obviously not something you want to see, especially when you guys are playing 800 snaps. We got a couple guys with 10, down with the 9s. I mean, I feel like I when you think about it,
I feel like a lot of teams you see here are not playoff teams either.
Yeah, but where I was going though is out of like this guy, he's got 10. Out of 1,000 snaps, he gave up 10 sacks. I feel like proportion, he ain't that bad.
Hey, he ain't that bad, but the leaders
Miles,
are
go
not
ahead.
playoff teams.
I will say it's surprising to see in the top 3 a tackle like Andrew Thomas, one of the best in the league, being top 2 in most sacks allowed. I'm not sure if that was just a rough season for him or if that's something we'll see for the rest of the cycle, but just comparing him to the other 3, it's surprising. I noticed that.
Yeah. Division.
One thing that kind of gets thrown out of the way here is you got to kind of factor in, the play style of the quarterback.
Well,
so that can always lead to, some extra sacks.
The division as well. I mean, he's in the NFC East. Look at the pass rushers out there with the Cowboys and the Eagles alone. I mean,
a lot of them we just looked at. So yeah, man, you got a lot of those guys on that list. That makes a little sense why see him a little higher there.
Yeah.
So Fred Warner leads in solo tackles and total tackles. Jamin Davis, Eric Spillane's up here for the Raiders. Ashton Davis is up here in total tackles. I don't know if that's. I kind of see it as a bad thing. That kind of shows that they're getting to that second, third level, or they're kind of testing over there. Maybe they think they can be.
One thing I will say about that Jets organization is you see a lot of 4-6 defense. So I don't know if you guys know that kind of forces him down into the box, which with his speed, I think it's it's a little give or take with that. It has helped him with his interceptions, but it does inflate his tackles because he's so close to the line of scrimmage.
That makes a lot of sense. I mean,
from
what I watched on tape, that Jets defense, they played great.
And I do believe, they were a, top half of the league um team as far as defense. So,
We got
something there.
a bunch of NFC guys leading in tackles for loss. Jordan Davis, Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa, Trevin Wallace, Dallas Turner. So you're seeing 6 guys until you see, or 5 guys until you get to an AFC guy.
It's showing that the NFC is very talented in defense.
Yeah, they're definitely
You don't want to
stingy.
play with the NFC.
Definitely
You wanna play with
stingy.
the NFC. And like that really shows like is it a quarterback an offensive issue in the NFC or is the defense that good?
Miles.
Will be
I mean,
determined, I guess.
you just see the studs like looking at that Jordan Davis, Micah Parsons, Nick Bosa. It could be the quarterbacks, but it's also those are generational talents you're seeing on the defensive side of the ball, both the secondary, the linebackers, and the defensive line. And most of them just happen to be in the NFC as of right now.
Micah Parsons is our sack leader with 15. Nick Bosa, Dallas Turner, Gardick, Yoder Grossmodos, Adafe Owe. So, again, NFC guys.
I would love to point out this is a major, major improvement from what we've seen prior. So you don't have guys touching 30, guys
Yeah.
over 30. Like it brings a little more realism here. So I do love to see those numbers down.
Yeah.
So I'm curious. Let me go back to the passing. I wanted to go to interceptions.
Or sacks taken.
I'll get there. But I just want to see how many NFC guys are throwing picks due to under pressure.
Justin Fields' number. Wow.
Okay, so we got the Rams, the Commanders, the line or the Giants, the Packers, the Cardinals, the Bears. Before we see Drake May finally for the AFC, and then
What's that
again
first number?
two more NFC guys right after. 56 was the most for Matthew Stafford.
56 and 52. You're talking about a lot of hits.
Well, not even that. We got 42 and 48 and 52 for the Commanders and Giants, and you go back and look at the sack leaders, and it's your divisional opponents, Micah Parsons, and you got Micah Parsons there, and then the tackle for losses is Micah Parsons and Jordan Davis.
Yeah.
So they're obviously they're getting the NFC East is literally just beating up on each other.
I was going to say back to Coach Beast's point, or I believe it was Coach HD. This kind of explains why we're seeing someone like Andrew Thomas letting up the second or first most sacks in the league. Because again, look at those 2 defensive players, and they're just 2 of many in that division. So it's kind of crazy how wild that division is with defensive talent.
Yeah. Interceptions, only 6 with double digits. Juan Thornhill, obviously we talked about, he won defensive player. Eric Kendricks was on their list. Jamal Hill, Jerome Baker, the rookie, Sainer still, and Brian Asamoah all have double digits. Only 2 DBs. Only 2 DBs.
Yeah, and just what I was about to hit on, man. You look at this top half, and you would love to see more DBs, but maybe teams are only sticking to that intermediate throwing. Maybe nothing's downfield.
Yeah. Deflections: Derwin James, Skinner, Terrion, Simmons, Nate Wiggins, Budda Baker. Budda Baker, a guy that got traded, by the way, ended up with 5 picks, 11 pass deflections. We can kind of hit that later in the standings, but he was on a team fighting for a playoff spot, and then he got traded and obviously showed impact for the Cowboys, who won their division late in the year. So that's big for them. Forced fumbles, 2 Texans here. Will Anderson, obviously a young guy, and then Zarius Smith picking up a bunch of fumble recoveries, and that pretty much sums it up. We'll go with touchdowns. Isaiah Simmons, 5 touchdowns. Quay Walker, Brian Branch both had 4. The NFC North showing out. The West or the East for Jeremy Hill. So, not honestly, there's a lot of guys with defensive touchdowns. A lot of guys with 2, obviously, but maybe I've never looked at this stat or how many there'd be, but there's a lot of guys with a touchdown on defense.
Oh,
There is. And then again, the defensive numbers are looking really on par with what you would see in any type of actual sim league. So I do love to see these numbers down. Again, like some positions I would like to dominate a little more than others. DB's got to get more involved in picks, man. We gotta do something.
I think I'd rather see more deflections on DBs and interceptions, in my opinion. I think there needs to be more deflections, shown as a stat, or something better. I don't think interceptions need to be as high in a Simulation Man League.
I'd
But
like
You
that's
to
are
just
see
my
more
correct, but
opinion.
sacks.
then at the same point though, I can't have these clumsy linebackers, man. I can't
I
have
know,
these
I know,
these
I agree. I can't,
these
I can't
hit
have.
sticking machines
Yeah.
lead interceptions. It
No,
just
no,
has to
no.
be a little
That's
sick.
that's my entire point, though. I don't think the linebackers should be, dominating the league. I think DBs should be, but more in a
Mhm.
realistic setting that we would have DBs leading. You know.
There, again, showing love to our kickers, bro. Um, this guy only kicked 3, so we're not counting him. I think. Oh yeah, Justin Tucker got hurt at the end of the year. Cam Little 12 for 12, 100%. Field goals, but 96% on extra points. He did miss one. Aubrey's up there, Bates, Gano, a bunch of guys we talked about, Hopkins, who is, again, he missed the 2 week 17 and then went 100% on XP or extra points.
What's the longest field goal we had this season?
Longest field goal we have, here it is, 60 yards by Will Lutz, of course, Denver Broncos.
Impressive.
Obviously, I'm going to think that's when they received Pukes. I think if Cook was still here, we would have got that video. That would have been an insane video to see from the Broncos' point of view. The kick meter swinging from 60 yards. That would have been absolutely insane, honestly.
Yeah, I don't
How
think
do
At
most
that
of us
you?
point,
would have
just
even
close your
attempted that.
eyes and hit X.
Yeah, you just hope
Just
you just hope it goes up. Every kicker besides the last 1, 2, 3, 4 have a 50-yard field goal. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think almost every kicker in the league can kick a 50-yarder?
100%. That's like a layup now.
You think now it's a layup? Almost all of them though.
You
I
gotta look at
mean,
some of these percentages, though. Some of these percentages aren't really,
yeah. So
cutting it.
we'll
So
start at the
I
top.
think it speaks more on why we had so many fourth down attempts, man. Like you got guys missing like crazy. It's not really a give or take anymore. You really have to be skilled. It's an aspect of the game to where, hey man, you can't just load up a 55 and you're going to hit it. No, you have to actually practice this stuff now. So I do appreciate the fact that it gives you an aspect to go out and try to practice up on.
Yeah, I do want to comment on that. Just slightly off track, just for a sec. We seen one fourth down rule break this year get called out, and I think it was week 1, with the Cardinals and the Commanders. Maybe it was week 2. Do you think, guys, you get to that 40 to 40 range or 30 to 30? I think that's what it is. I think it's the 40 to 40s, call it consider like no man's land. But you kind of get to that 30-yard line and you're thinking like, should I kick it? Should I punt it? Just with the new kicking. Um, do you feel like there's been a little bit of leeway from your opponent complaining or snitching on you for going for it when they're like, if they could be thinking like, this is realistically, it's tough to kick from here. Maybe a team would go for it from here. Do you guys think there was a little leeway there, or do you think guys just were a lot better this year with following that rule?
I think there's more
Um,
leeway, in my opinion.
so
I
I,
mean, how
I,
do you?
I think the verbiage in what you took was the wrong approach for that. I just think it's more of an understanding. Like guys are loading up. You're on that side of the screen. I'm on this side of the screen. We know where we're looking at. Like you can be trying to block the kick, and yeah, no, this ain't a good attempt, man. Go ahead and go for it. So I think it's more of that that's starting to happen a little more.
Yeah,
'Cause,
exactly what Beast.
everybody's seen it. So
Yeah, exactly what Beast is saying, man. Like I could tell right away. Like when I'm taking the kick, I'm like, I know this is a bad attempt. I should not be taking this, but like I have to because I'm 4 from 5. But if I'm 4 from 1, I'm going for it no matter what. Um, and like I expect my opponent to do the same because like I feel like there's points where like in this in this Madden we're at where it's hard to hit a kick now. So like I'm not mad at my opponent going for it at that position, and I don't think they're mad at me doing it. Same. How do you feel, Coach?
All right, Miles. Coach.
Yeah, no, agreeing with Cam here. I think it's just way the game offers kicking this year. It's you need a that's something you go into the practice mode of practice until you can get it down. We've seen props to Coach HD, someone who's nailed it this year. But in terms of the whole fourth down discrepancy, I agree with Cam. I do think it's more so people are kind of just being disciplined here and understanding when they're meant to kick or when they're meant to go for it, and it's just a lot better that way.
All right, and with that being said, obviously we'll show love to punters as well. I've never actually looked at this for a to have like a real basis of where this is coming from, but league leader was the Eagles with 45 punts. The fewest was 19 for the Titans, and it looks like he was the only punter for them. But they also do a lot of picks, so that makes sense that they didn't get the opportunity to punt. Almost 2,000 yards from Pinion. The average for again matter is this dude was getting drafted because of his leg. He averages the longest punt. Net yards 1,700 for these guys. Blocked punts. Nobody got a blocked punt. Couple guys in double digits for keeping them inside the 10. And then, these guys right here, Bailey, Way, Man, Stout, doing a bunch of touchbacks. The longest punt was 72 yards for a tie between Blake Group and Bradley Pinion. Kick returner, we'll show some love to these guys real quick. 1,300 return yards was the most. Next was 1,200. Go down the touchdowns. Miko Hardman had 3 touchdowns. Mari Cooper's on there. His was from an onside kick. And then, wow, there were a lot of touchdowns this year.
I mean, the numbers aren't as bad as previously. So again, man, you're starting to rein things back in as far as the realism. So you're not seeing just a dramatic number of them, which I love to see. Last cycle we were having guys with 9, guys with 10. So this looks a lot better.
Yeah, it looks really great. Like I think the new kickoff rules really helps rules in the realism of football, and it kick returner who can return more than 1 touchdown. So if you have a guy who has 3, that's pretty insane. I mean, are a really well ran organization by a really out. So, it's good to see.
Just for the funnies, I was trying to see. So the longest one was a 97. I was trying to see who had a touchdown, the shortest touchdown kick return. It looks like Rico Dowdle. It was Amari Cooper's onside kick, but Rico Dowdle had one for 84 yards. Someone kicked it short and ended up paying for it. But yeah, Amari Cooper had a 45-yard return on the what's it called?
There could have been another
onside
one,
kick.
but I think a DC happened. But...
darn. Punts. 1 punt return for a touchdown. Rashid Shaheed had 1 for 54 yards. That was it. So that does it for the stats. We'll hit the standings. Kind of give that a slight look at. You kind of give where you thought kind of guys would be. If you'd like, we could start at the top. We could start at the bottom. Don't matter. Chiefs 15-2, Vikings 15-2, Lions obviously 14-3, Cowboys 12-5, Patriots 11-6, 11-6 Chargers, Bucks 10-7, Bills, Colts, Giants, Seahawks, Eagles, Saints. I think we've seen a lot of parity this season. Normally there's some real heavy hitters, and it's pretty lopsided for the most part, but I think it was pretty even on both sides.
For the most part, but I do want to point out the fact that this is, of course, a 32 coach league, and you have a guy that loaded up 17 different times and only managed to lose two of those matchups.
Yeah.
Just very, very, very outstanding from those guys, and even the guy that managed to lose only three. Like you got to speak out for these guys that are that skilled to match up with 17 different people, 17 different strategies, and come
Yeah.
out victorious like that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well,
I
I want
like
to
to.
add on to that, like even like 2 or 3, you also have to add on to like guys only losing 5 or 6. Like we live in a hard league where competition is a part of both conferences. So if you're making the playoffs, you're an impressive team. So all these teams that are making the playoffs are having good win records. Good on you. Props on you. You made the playoffs. You fought hard and long, and now you're in it. So good on you.
Hmm.
Um, Something that's interesting to me is the two losses the Chiefs even have are to two opponents that you wouldn't expect them to lose to, which would be Coach Casper and the Bucks, and I believe it was Coach Debo and the Saints. And that just goes to show that even with how skilled Mike is, anything can happen any game with how skilled this league is.
As Coach was basically put it on a platter for me. I was going to say any given Sunday is the definition of PML, with whether it's an upset or two top dogs or whatever it is. It's no game is a guarantee win, no matter what you say. And it shows by this year's record. I think there's a lot of chatter like who's the clear cut juggernaut favorite. I think this year you couldn't really picture point one out.
All right. Um, with that being said, kind of tag on these divisions a little bit. AFC North came down to Week 18. When the Browns played the Ravens, Browns ended up winning to make them 9-8. Ravens 7-10, Bengals 4-13, and the Steelers ended up 32nd at 2-15 with the number one overall pick. How did you guys see this division shaping up? And is there anything that's like noticeable about it?
Well, I mean, honestly, I'll let Beast go first. He's the main man.
Oh, go ahead, round it off.
Well, in my
Finish
opinion,
off.
like I thought, I played the Ravens, and I thought they had a good season at the beginning. But I also watched the Browns coach, and I thought they were good. So like I was not surprised to see that they would have like the final game of the division at the end of the season. And I thought, the way that both teams played, it made sense that the Browns came out victorious because the Browns were a hard fought team. So like seeing them win the division, it makes no surprise to me.
So my biggest thing with this division, I feel like this is one of the divisions that should have been, with with the teams and the way they're built, man. Like you don't have many holes on these teams. I mean, you look at them as a whole, and it's always very, very strong on both sides of the ball. Browns, of course, built very, very good, very well, very strong on both sides of the ball. Ravens, the same thing. You look at the Bengals, very, very skilled players on both sides of the ball. Steelers is the only one you can kind of question their offense, but when you look at the weapons as a whole, this is a team that you would look at, and this division to me should have been a lot higher with the win totals, and I would love to see them get back, go in the right direction.
I believe that I'm going since that's how Coach is going to go. This division kind of shaped out how I anticipated it would in terms of top to bottom. Three of these guys, two of these guys are veteran figures, and you look at them, and you're like, these guys got to be the clear cut favorites, but anything can happen. But overall, like Coach B said, these teams are very loaded, at least if not on both sides of the ball, one side of the ball. I believe everyone has a little room for improvement, but overall, shout out to Coach HD here for managing to get the division locked season one.
All right.
Yeah,
Did you go Codes or I stepped away for a
no,
second?
I was about to. This is pretty much how I saw the division going. I think Coach HD, he knows that Browns team very well. Um, so I kind of knew from the beginning that he was gonna put it together. And this was his year, and he went out and he showed it. I didn't expect the quarterback changes. That's for sure. 3 different starting quarterbacks, I believe. But I think he found his quarterback of the future in DTR, and maybe they can dominate the division and pick up the wins further down the cycle.
Mhm.
All right. I thought the Browns were gonna win the division. It's kind of actually shaped up how I thought it would, but I actually thought it would be between the Browns and the Steelers. Coming into the season, T. Riley came in and he let us be known that he's gonna come compete. But I don't think he expected, PML to be where it's at, which I think a lot of people do. I think he'll get the hang of it. But, other than that, I think the division turned out kind of how I thought it would. So, I mean, I don't have really too much on that. The Ravens had a good season. Obviously, I say that and, you look and they're 7-10, but they're fighting for a playoff spot coming week 18. That's what matters. For your division, obviously, league wide might be a different view, but if your division, you're fighting for a playoff spot week 18. That's a good season in my book, in my opinion, as long as you're fighting out there. Next is the South. This is a division that I thought was going to end like the North. Colts won it at 10-7. Everybody else 6-11. They all tried to catch up and claw back, but they were not able to make it happen. Colts snuck out some wins against teams that were definitely, ranked higher than they were. He was 7-10, but I do want to point out here he was -5 point differential. All of them are negative in the point differential, which I'm only pointing out because I think it's unique going 7-10 and being negative in the point differential.
And then you look at that 5-win streak, so he really caught on fire towards the end of the season there. So it speaks testaments to what he was able to figure out later in the second half and really push towards taking over that division.
Yeah, I mean, he had some big wins against a playoff user himself in the Patriots too, near the end of his cycle. So I mean, the Colts made a big run. I know they started off slow, but I think they started off 2-4, and they got off 10-7. It's big on them as the user himself. So I mean, I'm proud of them for doing that. How do you feel, Coach?
All right, Miles, take over.
Yes, sir. I think this was similar to the AFC North. It was a toss up in a way, and shout out to Coach CB and the Colts for getting it done. Overall, there was a chunk in the season, mid-season, where the other 3 teams kind of slipped up, and he had a 2-3 game advantage, and that's ultimately what got him over the hump because, for the most part, it was neck and neck between all 4 teams, but 3 of the teams slipped up, and Coach CB managed to, like Coach B said, got that 5-game win streak going, and when it mattered most, he won out and won the division. Coach Codes, what are your thoughts on this division?
I definitely didn't see it panning out this way with the Colts winning the division. I think the thing that really put him over the top and ran away with it was his play with Anthony Richardson. That was really impressive, and I don't think most of us saw that coming. If Coach T Bandit didn't have to leave mid-season, I think maybe he would have had a chance. But this was a very unpredictable division to me, so I never really had someone in my head that was like, oh yeah, they're going to win this division. It was pretty much a toss-up, but the Colts season as a whole was pretty surprising to me.
All right. I agree. I definitely thought the Jags were going to come out on top. I think I had it between the Jags and the Titans. I told CB when I spoke with him, I gave him his props. He had a much better season than expected. I did not expect him to come out on top, especially with double-digit wins. So shout out to CB and the Colts for that one. Next, AFC East, another one that came down to the final week for the division. The Patriots were able to steal the 2nd seed from the Bills, who ended up as the 6th seed. at 11-6, 10-7. The Jets at 8-9. Again, another team, Week 18, playing for the playoffs. They just missed it when they lost to the Dolphins at 7-10.
Yeah, I mean, looking at this division, you really didn't see the Patriots getting there. I mean, you can look at the Bills and you know they were trending upwards. You can look at the Jets and you know you see where they should have been, based off of all the offseason acquisitions, and, you know, based off of uh, healthy Aaron Rodgers, even though he did go down, I believe 5 to 6 weeks throughout the middle of the season. Still, very, very something you didn't really expect. You know, who saw the Patriots doing this? I know I didn't. It's now. Don't get me wrong; it was a very well built team defensively, but I just didn't think that they had enough offensively to actually get that job done. But hey, man, they did a great job. All my hats tip to them. You know, hopefully that team can thrive moving forward, and then we can add a little more from this division. Maybe we send three. You know, you never know. So, what do you think about it, Cammy?
Yeah, I mean, like, it's surprising. You see the Bills start off 10-0. Think they have the division cleared, no problem. But, like, as weeks go on, like, it just doesn't go in their favor. If you look at the start, the Dolphins look like the clear winner. The Jets look pretty good. The Patriots look all right. But at the end of the day, it doesn't work out that way. So, I mean, good on the Patriots for taking the lead. Shout on the Bills for blowing it up, and the Jets, they look pretty good, but they turned it down. Who do you feel, Coach?
I was pretty surprised, just because the Bills had such a big lead. Um, I didn't expect the Patriots to be able to catch up because I'm pretty sure they started pretty slow, right? And then they got hot midway to the late end of the season, and then I believe the Jets were even performing pretty well in the beginning of the season. So I definitely didn't see the Patriots come out of nowhere and taking this division. I thought the Bills had it. I thought the Bills even had the 1 seed locked up. What about you, Miles? What do you feel about this division?
All right. Miles can comment when he comes back. Yeah,
Oh, sorry, I was muted.
Patriots.
Sorry.
Patriots were 1-4 starting off. Then they found a little. They found a little. I think they won 2 games, lost 2 games, and they went on a massive streak of where I think they won 8 of their last 9. The one loss being to the Colts. Again, Bills were 10-0 to start. Ended up 0-7 to finish the season, which obviously essentially lost them the number 2 seed and gave it up to the Patriots that final week in that game. I think they both had great seasons. Patriots was a team that unexpectedly got up here at 11-6. I don't think anyone expected them to maybe win the division, but 11 games is really good. And I think this is a pretty good division as well, as he's very familiar with the Bills and Jets and the Dolphins. He's familiar with all 3 other coaches. So, shout out to Neff and the Patriots. And hopefully we see a lot out of this division coming up.
Yeah, so as I was saying, I didn't realize I was muted. This division for the first half of the season wasn't surprising, but the way it twisted was a surprise to me because, as I said, Coach Neff was at one point 1-4, 1-3, and the Bills were 10-0 at one point, and it was just a complete 180 for the 2 teams. And it was just great coaching by Coach Neff and the Patriots to win the division. But going forward, I do see this as one of the more competitive divisions in the league, just because all 4 coaches are extremely talented, and I don't believe there's a major skill gap or distance between the 4.
All right. The AFC West, they sent 3 guys: Chiefs 15-2, Chargers 11-6, and the Raiders are they finished 9-8, and the Broncos just missing at 8-9. If they could have snuck out a win somewhere else, we're possibly talking about a whole division in the playoffs. Obviously, the Chiefs got the first seed, Chargers are 6 or 5, and then the Raiders had the 7th seed.
Yeah, so looking at this division, this is kind of more on the lines of what you expected to see. Only team that really stands out here for me is the Raiders. The fact that they are able to kind of hang in there and really come through late and make that late push to get in the playoffs. But of course, you see the Chiefs on top. You see the Chargers coming in close second, and then it really shaped out how you thought it would for these solid teams here. Cammy?
Cammy?
Yeah, just adding on to what B said, like you never expect the Raiders to be in the to a playoff spot, especially like when you don't have a quarterback like the Chiefs or the Chargers do. So it's hard for the Raiders to make the playoffs. But it's kind of surprising to see the Raiders in the playoffs. I think it's not surprising to see the Chiefs on top, the Chargers in second, and the Broncos in last. But I think things can shape up going into season two with how Bo Nix played. How do you feel, Coach?
Um, I honestly do feel like if Cook didn't shock the world and retire midseason, that all four teams would have made the playoffs. Um, yeah, this I think it pretty much turned out how I expected it to. Besides the Broncos being over the Raiders, I would have put them above. Cook was firing on all cylinders whenever before he retired. The Chiefs looked good all season. The Chargers looked pretty good. Like this was the powerhouse division, so it pretty much all turned out how I expected it to, just without the Broncos making the playoffs. What about you, Miles? How do
Yeah,
you feel about this division?
yeah. Again, I think this is a powerhouse division. Now three great coaches, but previously it was four great coaches, and it was capable of sending four, but it almost did. And I think in going forward, it will. Uh, I didn't think it would send three off rip because the Raiders aren't there, but Coach did a great job scheming and making things work to get them to compete with the rest of the division and send them to the playoffs. But yeah, I think for season based off of first season, I think it went how you would think on paper the division would go from Chiefs being first, etc. Coach HD.
Yeah, this division kind of went how. Well, actually, it did not go how expected. I guess with the coaching change, as Coach mentioned, with Cook retiring, obviously you can expect it to end this way, but I kind of expect to be the Chiefs and the Broncos up there with the Chargers and Raiders to follow. Um, Obviously, Chiefs having a great season. Chargers played exactly how you thought they would, 10, 11, 12 wins. Um, Raiders being 9-8 and slipping into the playoffs is kind of where it's kind of where I'm surprised. I mean, the coach is good, the roster's bad type deals. It's always like hit or miss when you get that combo there. And then obviously the Broncos missing is a surprise for me because we expected Cook to be there. But they do bring in another playoff caliber coach with Doc. So I expect this division to probably at some point send four if everyone sticks around. Going to the NFC North, this was the heavy hitter NFC division from the jump. The Vikings went 15-2, Lions 14-3, Packers 9-8, and the Bears 6-11.
So, looking at this one, I mean, man, if you said the Vikings were going to do this good, obviously, I don't know what type of foresight you have, but I am going to need you to write down a few numbers for me. And then looking down the rest of this list here, the Lions, we kind of expected. The Packers, I saw being able to do a little better in this division. Very, very good team, very defensive minded coach. And then you have the Bears there just with the rookie quarterback a little too much to overcome, the other teams in this division. So I think it just made it a little hard for that rookie to get settled. Next year, I do expect them to do a little better, Um, but I would love to see just a little more out of those bottom two, kind of even the tip the scales here. Just still a few away from the Vikings, unless look at this a little more even, and I'll be satisfied with that. But definitely saw the Lions being on top. Of course, that swap with a big surprise in the Vikings. Coach Cammy, how you feel about it?
Yeah, I mean, if you would have told me by week 4, um, this is how the division would have played out, I would have been surprised. The Bears looked very, they looked like a Super Bowl favorite in my opinion. So, I'm very surprised to see how this division played out. The Vikings, they have a great head coach. Lions, they look like they have a great head coach. I mean, this whole division in general, they great head coaches all around. So, I'm not surprised. Um, I think it'll be a tough fight throughout for 5 seasons. I mean, I'll be surprised to see. I think one time you might see all 4 of these coaches in the playoffs. They're all great. They're all great. But yeah. I mean, I'm not. With how it played out, I think the Vikings win this division. It's not that surprising to me.
Yeah, I kind of expected the Vikings to win the division. I wasn't really sure what we were gonna get out of Coach Finn. I don't know much about him, and then but I did expect the Bears to put up a little bit more of a fight. They started off pretty strong. Caleb Williams was an MVP race, and all of a sudden, he just came crumbling down around week 7, week 8, and I don't think any of us saw that. So that was the biggest surprise to me. But as in terms of who the winner was, wasn't too shocked to see the Vikings coming out with the division title. How do you feel about this division, Miles?
Yeah, I think this is the AFC West version of the NFC because it's cuts on 4 teams. But like you mentioned, the Bears fell off a little. The Packers got going late, and I think going forward, this will be a team that will send 4 teams, if not 3, going forward. Coach HD.
Yeah, this was a division that we knew was going to be a really good one. SP Dot and the Vikings were always they were Super Bowl favorites, so they were always the favorites to win the division. But I knew Finn and the Lions were going to be up there. Just obviously, I know him from previous years being here. Um, and honestly, I think my obviously the last two are kind of a surprise with the Packers and Wimmy having to be out of town for a while and then dealing with the hurricane and having to drive across the country. And then the Bears starting off hot, and then they lost a few games and suddenly, um, they were on another path than what they were on, going the opposite way. Kind of turned the car around and wanted to turn the season around in opposite direction. Um, so these two guys, no surprise, are there. Packers missed it by a game. 9-8 would have won it in the AFC, but unfortunately, that's not how life works. So NFC South, we'll move on. 11-6 for the Bucks. They are also another team. I think they were 9-2 at one point. Saints are 10-7. Falcons 4-3, and the Panthers are 2-15, which shows they have the number 2 overall pick, and I think the Falcons have the 4. I believe 29th is. So, the Bucks, taking the division there.
Yeah, so not really not too much to go over here. Not many surprises. Not much more that we could say about it. But I mean, I do hope to see those bottom two pick it up a little more, kind of challenge these other GMs a little better to get them some talent and get that show going for them as we move on through the cycle. Cammy.
All right, codes.
Yeah, this division,
Hello.
there's not a lot. Oh,
Sorry.
go ahead, Kenny.
Sorry. I was just saying, there's not too much surprise here. You see the Saints going 10-7. That I think that is surprising to me. A lot of people thought the Bucks would have run away with the division, but the Saints came back. They went 10-7, and they didn't make the playoffs going 10-7. So I mean, you gotta keep your head on. Look at the Saints here, especially going into next season. But how do you feel, Coach?
Yeah, this division, not too many surprises. It was kind of a toss up at the beginning. I think I would have leaned more towards the Saints. Um, I think out of all of these coaches, they're the one that made the playoffs most recently, or at least did it in the first season. So I was really gonna give them the edge, but you know, Coach Casper came out and did his thing. Not surprised he won, but surprised how good he played everyone else. You know, that was me one of those divisions where the winner was just a little bit better than everyone else in the division. They just beat up on the division, but he actually went out and beat good opponents. He beat Kansas City Chiefs. He beat the Raiders. He beat a few others that were notable, but yeah, not too surprised. What about you, Miles?
Yeah, so this was another one of those, in a way, a toss up. In a way, maybe there was a clear cut favorite. The biggest surprise was Coach Debo and the Saints here, because I it's not based off past seasons. It's not something he's been this successful. So shout out to him. And I think it was great performance by Coach Casper to get together that first season.
All righty, producer, take us away.
All right. Yeah, this I wasn't sure who would win this division, honestly. I didn't really feel like I'd seen enough from the coaches of the Bucks or Saints last cycle. So I really wasn't sure what to do here. The Falcons being a high-powered team. JT and the Panthers, we know what we're getting here just simply because of the extra work that he does for us, off the field. So these other guys, though, Casper kind of caught us off guard with the 11-6, same with the Saints at 10-7. I did expect, I kind of expected from the Saints just because Debo getting his guys and making it happen. But the Bucks got some quality wins. I think the Saints fought back. I think they were pretty decent at the beginning of the year. Or they were pretty bad in the beginning of the year, and then kind of caught up in the middle and won some games there. So we'll go to another division that sent 3. Cowboys, the NFC East. The Cowboys took the 2 seed. They took the 2 seed at 12-5. The Eagles at 10-7, and the Giants at 10-7. This is another division where someone snuck up. The Eagles are winning at the end. Well, the Commanders were actually up there. They finished 8-6, but they were up there at 7-2 or something like that. And then the Eagles fought back and took it from them, and then the Cowboys in the last 3 weeks came back and took it from the Eagles. So those 3 kind of took turns passing around the division. So it's honestly, we've seen it from the stats. There's good football going on over the NFC East.
Yeah. And then just looking at these records kind of show that, man. You got these guys that are pretty much, everybody's well above 500. You got one team that's a little below, but a couple plays and hey, he's above. Right? You didn't really see all these teams doing this good. I will say, once I saw the first trade come out for the Cowboys, I kind of knew that they were going to lock in to take over this division. But initially, I did have some reservations about the Eagles actually winning this division. So that'll be the only kind of mishap that I had there. Looking as base rosters, and some of us should know better. These guys are great GMs at the end of the day. So testament to what they're doing over there. It's good to see these records look so good, and they're flourishing, man. And you love to see it.
Yeah, probably one of the most best divisions in PML in general. You look at this fucking standing roster. You don't see many teams like this. And the Commanders could have made it. They were 2 games off of it, and it's sad that they couldn't make it. They were close to making it, but it didn't happen. Props to the Eagles making it. Props to the Giants making it. Props to the Cowboys pulling it out. Yeah, I know they had like a bad start to the season, but they really pulled it out. Um, all these teams, they really got grit. It's a hard division to play in, and I'm proud of how they played out. How do you feel, Coach?
I probably sound like a broken record, but this is another one that it could have gone to anyone. Um, Coach Drama and the Cowboys definitely had the best team on paper, but we know sometimes he can struggle. And he'll start off strong and then kind of fall off towards the end, and sometimes miss the playoffs. But he stayed strong throughout the season, and he actually made it, and he looked pretty good while doing so. I was really surprised the Commanders didn't make it. I know he's got a rookie quarterback, but there was times where he looked really, really phenomenal. And I would go to say most of his losses didn't come because the other team was better. He kind of beat himself. So if Coach Q and the rookie can get that under wraps, then I think next season they could make a really strong push. How do you feel about this division, Miles?
Yeah, this was 1 or 2 games away by Coach Q here to be all 4 teams above 500. Very back and forth division throughout the entire course of the season. And like Coach Code said, anyone's game, I think, going forward, and I think it'll prove that they are one of the better divisions in the league and like they could be another division that sends 4 going forward. It'd be amazing to see that. But yeah, Coach HD, what do you think of this division?
I said it before. I'll say it again. I think drama, no matter the team, just him as a coach always has a very good season one. Um, Actually, I'll say first season because there was a cycle he joined in year two and had a great first year of that cycle in year two. So I'll say first cycle for or first year for drama is always really good for him. Kind of expected him to win it there. The Eagles, I expected them to take second. It was between those two for me. But I did expect the Commanders come before the Giants. Commanders, I mean, Jaden Daniels is a name we keep seeing pop up, whether it's touchdowns, yards, it doesn't matter. The kid had a great year this year. Obviously, turnovers are the problem. He had a negative touchdown to interception ratio. And, like I said, at one point, I think they were 7-2 or something like that. And, they kind of just fell off, and you can probably kind of blame those turnovers for that. So, um, the Giants were able to sneak up and get above them and get that third playoff spot from them. Great season by all of them. Like Beast mentioned before, the one team ends up, they win week 18. They're in the playoffs first of all, and second they're over 500. This is a division that can also send 3 again or 4 at some point. So shout out to these guys. And finally, the NFC West. This is kind of where I want to go back to that. I'm going to mention again that Buddha trade that helped the Cowboys win the East. Seahawks at 10-7, the 49ers and Cardinals at 8-9, and the Rams at 6-11. The Cardinals were in first place, I think, at the time when they traded Buddha Baker, and since then, obviously they finished in third. My comment for that before when the trade happened was just that if you're in a playoff spot, in your playoff position, and you're winning your division and you're competing, you don't move impactful players. And this kind of just shows you went from first to third after moving on from a superstar safety. Niners obviously missed a few games. When they came back, man, they fought like hell to get up there. And, to earn that second place in the division. And then obviously Kenneth Walker just he is the Seahawks, man. He just carried these guys.
Yeah. I mean, looking at it, I wouldn't say I see any surprises here. Um, you got some guys that have some teams that they got a little more stars on the field, so it should have been a little better. Referencing the 49ers there, I did expect quite a better season from them, but then you look at the Cardinals and then you look at the Rams, and the rosters were a little challenging. It was an uphill battle to start this cycle off. So I did essentially have the Seahawks doing what they did. But like you mentioned, Kenneth Walker has just been amazing. Like we haven't seen this. So that there was the only surprise out of this division for me. I feel like everything kind of lined up as it should. I do see this division getting much, much better. You got a bunch of coaches here that don't really like to lose. So we'll see how that, turns on for them as we move down the cycle.
Well, buddy, I can't say the same. I thought the Rams, I thought they had it in the bag starting week 1 to 4. They looked really good. They beat the Lions, who are a playoff team. They were 4-1. I thought, hey, the Rams, they're on a win streak. I thought they're going all the way to the Super Bowl. But you know what? Didn't end up that way. And you know what? The Seahawks, they made their way up top, and I'm proud of them for that. Same with the 49ers. Hey, 49ers, what were they? They were like 2-8, 2-nets, 3-7. They made their way up to second in the division. Proud of them too. I'm proud of all these teams in the division, but at the end of the day, Seahawks made their way up big. How do you feel, Coach?
Yeah, I think I had the 49ers division just simply because we saw Coach D. Ray. He got a job offer with the Bengals, and he was able to make the playoffs once he was able to get that team the way he wanted it because he came into a rough team. The Niners, they're really talented. They just came off a Super Bowl loss, but they kind of dominated the NFC. So I figured, right out the bat he'll be competing. So I was kind of surprised not to see him win the division. And kind of like what Kami talked about the Rams. Um, I do remember the Raiders were going into LA, and the Rams were 4-1, and the Raiders went in there and shocked the world and beat the Rams and knocked them to 4-2. And they both coaches met at the center of the field, and they kind of had an altercation, and they were bickering and fighting. And I think maybe the Raiders coach could have mentally thrown off the Rams coach, but that's just speculation. But uh, you kind of think something had to happen there with such the big fall off because they were looking amazing beforehand. So, half of the game is mental. So, yeah, those are my thoughts on it. Congratulations to the Seahawks. And oh yeah, another thing was HD with the Buda Baker thing. I thought that was a weird move, but another weird move was the Seahawks around the same time they decided they were going to bench Geno Smith, the veteran quarterback, and he wasn't even looking that bad, but they wanted to go with the youth, so they went with Sam Howell, and it seemed to work out for them. So congratulations to them. How do you feel about it, Miles?
Yeah, so this was Coach DMV Mark came into season 5 last year. I didn't know much about him as I wasn't present, and he came in and shocked the world in a way because I'm sure new guy, not much film or tape on you. You don't know what you're gonna get from this guy, and he came in 10-7, won the division, made a name for himself. Uh, against veteran coaches like Coach Green and Fallen and D Ray, who's slowly getting more seasons under his belt. But I agree. It was surprising to see the flip from Coach Fallen and the Rams. They were 4-1. Something happened in the middle of the year and they fell off. And congratulations to Coach DMV Mark. And curious how this shapes up going forward. Coach Z, what do you think of this division?
Well, Miles, I started this, so I'm going to hand it over to Beast.
Yeah. So again, thank you guys for coming in and being a part of the show. We welcome you guys into the locker room to see, the inner workings, and we have some very, very insightful co-hosts. Might I just add that in there? Very insightful, very respectable. So I do appreciate you guys for allowing me to, steal 2 hours of your day from you. Whether or not, you had something planned, had something you're supposed to do, I do appreciate you guys for giving me that time. I appreciate the listeners for being here, listening to us, kind of go on and on. We did, like I said, the show was a little longer than it typically would be, but we just all felt we needed to have that respect thy neighbor talk. So hopefully we did, do what we set out to do, and then hopefully we were insightful enough to carry you guys up throughout all of this coverage with us. So just the closing thoughts here. Cameron, you got anything for him?
Yeah, I just appreciate everyone being able to stay this long to listen to us talk about PML. Not everyone has the time to listen to it, but if you do, thank you so much for that. It means a lot to me, and I care about this league a lot. So thank you for that. How do you feel, Coach?
Yeah, I think everybody is important to PML. I would really like to see more content. I know some people, for one reason or another, content's kind of out of a low, and there's not that many podcasts. But I hope this show can inspire people, start doing more podcasts. Letting their voices be heard, their ideas, letting the creative juices flow. Shout out to Beast though for kind of creating this idea and giving me the opportunity to have a voice and talk and get the female experience. 'Cause I'm not gonna lie, the last 2 cycles I haven't done that much content. I haven't been on any shows that much, and doing this show kind of made me realize how much that is like important to PML. Like that's most of the fun is being on the shows and talking, just chatting with the boys. So I hope this can inspire some people and maybe it'll get more people involved in PML and really buy into it. But that's pretty much all I got. How about you, Miles?
Yeah, so I just want to say, everyone has their own story behind why they are the person they are. So just treat others the way you want to be treated. Like we said, respect your neighbor, treat them how you'd want to be treated. And basically, thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to hopefully being here on future shows. Coach HD, what do you guys say?
Um, you know, I don't really have too much to end it. Like B said, this gonna be one of the longer ones. B felt like it was kind of necessary to consider this like a catch up video. Just on the whole regular season. It won't always be like this. They'll be a little quicker, maybe covering a week or two. But I think I said a lot in the beginning that I'll probably just kind of hit on again. Just a good place to be at. There's a lot of good people in here. We look out for each other. Like Code said, we would like to see a little more content and effort. Don't just look around and like not too much is happening and think that you should just do the same thing just because someone else is. Keep chat moving, get your content and be active, help each other out, and respect others for the most part. Recently, I will mention recently a lot of stuff's been more personal than it is football or league related. Just kind of cut the shit out and let's kind of get back to where we were, when PMO was at its peak. Let's make it back to that peak.
I agree with that. That was a good comment. If I could add one last thing, my last sign off is PML is what you make it. You know what I'm saying? If you want to be a content community, you have to put in the work for it to be that. So the people in the chat and stuff that complain like, oh, PML is not what it used to be. PML is us. PML is the member. So if it's not what it used to be, it's your job to make it what you want it to be. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what we're trying to do here is give people that type of idea. So I really hope this can really, really do that for some people because I know a lot of people have been complaining. So hopefully they actually put some action and stop complaining in chat.
Absolutely, absolutely. Again, thank you, fellas, for being here with me. And go ahead and take us away, HD.
Dun-dun-dun, dun-dun-dun.